Hey, Patrick, how you doing?
I am absolutely fantastic. I've been running from call to call, so I was like, I had to go grab something to drink real quick because you guys probably going to hear me choking out in like 2 seconds. So,
Please don't.
yep, don't want to have any issues there. So, how's it going? Nice and sunny today. Good weather.
Haven't been outside yet, but once I'll be there, probably. Yeah, I can see it from my window, but I have not sensed it on myself yet.
Gotcha. Well, it's important to get your sunlight, especially right now. You gotta, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm like really pale even when I do get sunlight, so it doesn't really do much good. But that vitamin D, you got to charge up.
For sure.
So, how many are we waiting for anybody else, or is this our crowd today, or?
We don't know. We publicize it in our office, and
Mhm.
this is the crowd that we get. So you're recording it, which is great, and we can send it afterwards to everybody. I think this is one of the things that we are definitely aware that people are not aware of all the things Google is actually giving us through KW or KW through Google. So
Absolutely,
hopefully,
absolutely. Well, I appreciate you guys coming today, and I will share my screen so y'all can see. Let's see. Let's make sure that we got on the right screen. All right, can you see my PowerPoint slide? Is that there? Or did I share the right screen? Okay, cool. There was a class recently where you share the wrong screen because Zoom has 100,000 options, and then you end up sharing your background for like 5 minutes. And so I want to make sure you guys actually see it. So so basically today, what we're going to be going over real quick is what G Suite can be for you. And so G Suite, for all the cool kids out there, just means Google Suite. And it all started a long time ago. I don't know if you guys remember the early days of Gmail. I mean, you had your AOL accounts, you had your Yahoo accounts, and all that kind of stuff. Gmail came around, and it was kind of like Clubhouse, where you could send out 20 invites to friends, and those were the only people that got to come in. And over time, Google decided that, hey, we're going to make a bunch of other products, and we're just going to kind of stick them all under one roof. And one of the things I really like about G Suite, especially, is that it has you have the ability to use it as a authentication as well. So a lot of services out there can authenticate through Gmail. And that means that you can connect things to it. You can also log into things. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I kind of forget passwords sometimes. You have 8,000 different accounts to Lord knows what, and you kind of end up forgetting. So G Suite's got some really great things there, and your Keller Williams G Suite account definitely has some cool stuff.
Patrick, can you explain to me, please, what do you mean by authenticate?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, you ever see where it says like log in with Google?
Yeah.
That's what the authentication is on that. So it's a very secure way to register for an account. So just like as a random example of this the other day, a few weeks ago, because I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing some different things to be healthy. I started buying, and this is not a plug for them at all, but I started buying like Keto Chow. It's like a brand of keto friendly shakes. And so I went to their website, and when I went in there, I could just say sign in as Google, and it had all my information to pull over. I didn't have to go, okay, here's my name, here's my address, here's all, it just pulls it in. So that's just a small little thing, and that's completely unrelated from Keller Williams. That's just Gmail. So you guys may or may not know me at this point. So I'm Patrick Mauldin. I've worked in real estate with admin style roles for about 10 years. I kind of came through the door as a graphic designer through the side door here in Alabama, working for a balloon shaped brokerage. And then this crazy lady named Kathy Gibson at KW called one day and said she needed a Patrick. I didn't know what the heck she was talking about. And so, a couple of weeks later, I was MCA at Keller Williams in Hoover. Been real involved in Keller Williams technology, labs, all that kind of stuff as we've moved into command. And I'm a technologist. I'm just a total nerd. I'm a total geek. If you could stick a nerd or a geek in a box, I probably would be in that box, no matter how it's shaped. So, and now I'm regional tech trainer for the Southeast region. So I teach you guys your leadership, put together videos, curriculum, all those sorts of things to make sure y'all have tools so that you can grow your business, and you can run the systems and models, and just generally live your best life. So main things that G Suite can do, and I kind of handpicked some of these out. There is a difference between an @KW G Suite account and a regular Gmail account. So the regular Gmail account is going to have open to any service that Google provides. However, you're not going to have things like unlimited storage. So your @KW account, you have an unlimited amount of storage on, say, Google Drive, which is a huge, great thing. You can record all kinds of videos and stick them on there that take up tons of space. You could use it as backup for something. I mean, really cool. Where like my personal Gmail account, I pay like $9.99 a month to get a terabyte. And so, which is like 1,000 gigabytes. It's a lot of storage, but still I know at some point I'm going to fill that up. And then I'm going to have to pay like $14.99 a month, and then I'll have to pay $19.99 a month, and on and on. So, so that's definitely a great benefit that you can get out of your Google Drive account. The thing I have had the most amount of fun with lately, and it depends on if you guys are it really doesn't matter if you're an individual agent or you have a team, although they both have really good places, is actually Google Forms. As simple as that can sound, I actually have Google Forms for myself to hold myself accountable to my daily activities. So when I do certain, like I've got a Google form that when somebody asks me a question, it only has 4 questions on it and they're super short. Somebody asks me a question about technology anytime during the day. I say what kind of technology it is, what the issue is, was it a bug, is it training, whatever, and then just little notes, and I hit submit. And then at the end of the week, I'm able to go back and see what people talk to me about at a quick glance. And I'll show you what that is like. You can use it for activity tracking, like, hey, I'm gonna, if you're following like, say, like the Ignite model, and like, you've got to make 10 contacts, go on 2 showings. It's been a minute since was it 10, 4, 2, or so you add your contacts, you make your calls, you go on showings. Whatever that is, you can make a little Google form that just keeps track of it for yourself, and you can go, okay, how are my activities this week? If you have a team, you could do the same thing for your team members. They could be filling it out at the end of the day just as a recap. It's a good way for holding yourself accountable. And then, of course, also open house feedback. That was another one of the Google forms that I built recently, and I figured out how to connect it to command through some software called Zapier. So somebody could scan a QR code, add an open house, they could fill out the information on it, and then the basic information automatically gets loaded into your command account. So there's definitely some opportunity for how that works.
So nice to know how to do that.
I will walk you guys through what that looks like, and I also have a video that you can go back through to see the high points of it as well, because it's
phenomenal.
It's a process, but it's not hard. It's just the first time you do it, you have to troubleshoot a little bit. So then, of course, you've got Google Voice. It is what they call a carrier calling type of voice over IP, and you can send text messages directly from Google Voice. You can get a local number for it. It may not be the local number you want. It may have a weird extension on the front. However, they do have numbers available, and it's free. And the only kind of caveat to it is there is a spam cap on it. And so if you say you have 100 people you want to text message in a day, Google Voice is not the best way to do it, because if you have 100 different people you text, it'll tell you that your account has temporarily been shut down. It's good though for quick communication if you're going to sit down at your computer and if you're a Mac user, you may be doing your iMessages through your Mac, but if you're a PC user, you don't necessarily have that option. So Google is another way you can do
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
So Google Voice, can we have only one number on it, or it's something that we can do, let's say for each listing, we can put a different Google Voice? No?
No, Google Voice is one of those things. It's going to be one number per G Suite account. So they limit it to that. However, you could do if you were going to use that as your place to do it, you could have a text too. And the good thing about the Google Voice account too is there's an app for it. So you can put it on your phone and you can reply to those texts away from your computer through the app, and it's pretty simple how that actually works. It gives you the push.
You're talking about the Google Voice, because I have a Google Voice that does not connect to my KW account, And, for me, that's part of my Android. It's not something that I don't need to do anything specific for that.
Gotcha. I'm not sure on Android. I don't know quite as much about that, but if you have a Google Voice account, you can use the Google Voice app to interface with that specific number. So when I was working at the Market Center, I had a Google Voice account that agents could text me to, so I wouldn't get overwhelmed with like my wife trying to text me, and then is it my wife texting me, or is it 10 agents asking questions about their office bills? So I had like like an office one that they could text me into. So if you wanted to separate the two, you could kind of do that. Or if you, like you said, listings, you could say, well, here's my text for listings, and it could come just to this specific Google Voice and give me a push notification, and so who you're talking to. You can also set up, the Google Voice works with, like I said, it's carrier calling. So if it comes to your phone, it comes to your phone as a phone call that you have to accept. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit odd. However, let's say that you have Twilio set up inside Command and somebody calls the number you text from. You can route that to say like a Google Voice, so that, and that Google Voice account could say, if you had a team, could be on 5 people's phones, and every one of those people could have the opportunity to pick up that call, whoever's first, if you wanted to run it that way. There's different ways you could structure that with that, and it's free. All of this is free, except for, well, actually even Zapier is free, which is not Google, but depending on what level you do Zapier, it can cost money, but there's some neat things in there. Google Drive, of course. If you are working with a transaction coordinator, or if you have a team, they're especially great. If you're just wanting to share things, Google Drive is fantastic. Like I said, your G Suite account, it has infinite storage as far as I know. I don't think there's a cap. Now, if you put like 20 terabytes on there, you may hit a cap. I have never seen anyone hit the cap on it. So it says unlimited. It says unlimited. So Google Slides, we're talking about, you could do a listing presentation or something like that through Google Slides. It's accessible through the app. So you could build it on your computer, and then you could go to an appointment with an iPad if you wanted to, and skip through it.
Patrick,
Yeah.
would you recommend working with Google Drive rather than Dropbox?
Depends on what you're doing. So photographers like Dropbox. That seems to be a thing with houses. And one of the odd things I think about Dropbox is, like, if a photographer shares their folder with you and you don't have enough space on Dropbox, it won't let you access their folder. Okay, which I think is kind of stupid. With Google Drive, say you had your photographer turns in photos, and you put them on your Google Drive, you can share each one of the Google Drive folders separately to, say, your sellers, and you'll never hit a cap on size. So if you have a Dropbox account, like say you could receive the pictures from your photographer, download them or transfer them into Google Drive, and then you could have the folder unshared from you, because that can get pretty big pretty fast. I've seen that, and actually I didn't know that was a thing until recently, when somebody shared me like 500 gigabytes worth of photos, and Dropbox was like, hey, you got to upgrade your account. I'm like, these aren't my pictures. I just want to see that. I need to get one photo out of this. So, but it's a thing. Have y'all heard about making QR codes inside Chrome? That's a new thing. Really easy. I'll show you
Inside Chrome?
Inside of Chrome. Chrome will create QR codes now.
I would love to see how.
It's pretty cool. And another thing to keep in mind, if you guys do Google AdWords, they are not included in KW G Suite accounts. I'm not sure why. It's probably some sort of security reason. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you on that. If you run Google AdWords, you're just going to have to use a separate Gmail account. Not a big deal to get around that. Most everybody has one. And it doesn't even have to be a real estate one. It just has to be another Gmail account. And then Google Sites. Google actually now has a website creation platform. So if though you can do inside Command, you can do landing pages and stuff. If there's a site that just doesn't fit the mold and you want to create it, or you need to create a site that has limited access to only certain G Suite users, you can do that. But that's that is a little bit different. So any questions about just the basic kind of stuff that G Suite can do? I'll show you guys the forms stuff, which I think is great.
My only conundrum is that I've been locked out of my my Gmail, not my Gmail, my KW G Suite, and it's been a very interesting challenge to find out how to do like new password, which is ridiculous.
So was it recently, or what, has it been a while?
Been a while.
Okay. I will actually hang on a second. Let me grab it and I will drop this actually in the chat who you need to call or talk to. That is one of those things I can't fix. However, there's two paths to getting that particular piece resolved. And the reason I asked recently is I had somebody else that had an issue in the past few days. And they were like, KW is not getting back with me. And I'm like, KW didn't have power because Texas was iced over. So they had no employees in the building. They had about 10 people working from home trying to field thousands of tickets. And so, yeah. So they should be close to caught up on that, because what they have to do in that situation is they have to get you on live chat or on the phone. They have to reset it while they're talking to you, and you have to go in and type, because it's like a two-factor authentication thing that has to happen.
Is it because of security measures?
It's because of security. Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
No, it's because they don't like you. I'm just kidding. That was a joke.
How can they not like me?
Exactly.
Oh.
No, it's just security and Google. It's more of a Google thing rather than a KW thing there. It's just when you have, they can only limit how many people have administrator status. They can't give it to everybody at KWRI, because you can imagine how much data you would have the power to to get your hands on. I had a team leader call me a couple weeks ago. Somebody was very upset because they got a phone call from a white hat hacker saying that their DocuSign had been hacked. And searching down through all the routes and everything, it was not DocuSign. It was their Gmail password had been phished, and somebody had gotten information about the transaction from a DocuSign email inside their Gmail. So, you know, that's why they have all these different security things. So there's a lot of stuff that, you know, as agents that get shared. You know, you may put an earnest money check in there. You may have wiring instructions of some kind, you know, and you just want to make sure it's covered. All right. Okie dokie. So Google Forms. I love Google Forms. Y'all can see I've made a few Google Forms, but this is only the ones I've made in the past recent little while. One of the ones I talked about that I have for myself is I have something I call activity tracking. And it's just a form I made to hold myself accountable to myself. And essentially this form just says, what kind of activity did I do? Who did I meet with, or what was the event? How did I feel that it went? That's my personal rating. And then any notes. And then I can kind of go back at the end of the week and go, did I sit around in my office and do nothing all week long? Did I only answer emails to people, or did I actually get to teach some class, meet with recruits, help people with their teams, whatever it may be? So I actually created kind of a sample one right here for you guys. And if you, to get into forms, any of the Google stuff's pretty easy. So forms.google.com is for forms. Voice is voice.google.com. You can go into your Gmail and click the little 9 circles in the top right if you want to, and find them in there. There's a lot of different ways to get there. Just make sure whenever you're going into something on Google, you're actually going to Google. You can accidentally put your login information on other platforms. That's the whole phishing thing I was talking about, when people make websites that look like Google. So you can go into forms.google.com, and I'll show you guys how this was made, but I just made this little form right here. I just called team activity tracking. And you could say this is, you could just say my activity tracking if you wanted to. And so it's like, one-to-one conversations had today. How do you feel about them? Like personal rating, contacts added to database, contracts written, showings, whatever key performance metrics you're holding yourself accountable. This is the way to do it. This is one, not the way, but this is one way to do it. This side right here is like the editing side of Google Forms. And so then you can go over to responses. You can see I don't have any responses in here because I haven't done anything in the form yet. So I'm actually gonna go up here to send, and I'm gonna grab a copy of this link real quick. I'm gonna go to that link. So this is like the live version of the form, not the editing version, but the live version. And I'm gonna say how many one-to-one conversations I had today. Let's say I had 10. How did you feel about them? I was not having a great lead gen day. I felt kind of odd. Contacts added to database, 2. Like I said, I wasn't having a great day. Contracts written. I did write 2 contracts. That's good. And I went on 0 showings. You could hit submit. It's been recorded. So if we go back over to the form, we can either look at responses, and it tells me basically the responses that I put in. Or what I like the most is under the responses, there's a thing called create spreadsheet. And to me, this is the easiest way to look at the information for this sort of activity. And so when you click on create spreadsheet, Google's going to give you a prompt. It's going to say create a new spreadsheet or select an existing one. Most of the time, you're just going to create a new one. And it just automatically gives me a name. I'm going to hit create. And now it's going to take any of the responses and put them in a spreadsheet form. So I can look at that and I can go on 225. I had 10 conversations. I felt 3 about them. I added 2 to my database, added 2. And you can use that as either on a team as a coaching opportunity for team members, or as yourself. Well, it could be a coaching opportunity for yourself when you're getting ready the next morning, you're like, okay, you were going to get those, you're going to make those calls, you're going to make those contacts today.
Patrick, if you send it to, let's say, to team members, can you make it that it will say agent A did this, agent B did that? Because what I'm thinking is not necessarily team, but I'm thinking about sending out, let's say, a VIP form for clients to fill up, like all their information. And then it comes back to you and you can see everything, and you can, easily upload everything afterwards to Command.
100%. So for your clients, now if it was on a team, what I would probably do is either do check boxes or create a drop down and put the names of all the team members in there. So you could say like team member, and you could say, Patrick.
Yeah, don't.
Don't. Hey, I try. Okay.
It's okay. Everything you do is A-okay.
Now this will automatically update it. So if I were to reload that tracking form, you can see team member is now a drop down, and I could say that say it was Patrick, and I'll just put some data in here, and then I'll submit it again. When I look at that, you see now it says team member Patrick. So you can do that. On the team side. If this was for a client, though, you could add, we could create something that says, and you can make it a required field, and you could say, email address or first name and last name. And Google Forms is actually pretty smart. I typed in last name and it changed it to a short answer automatically. I didn't have to go change the kind of data field it was. It kind of knew, and I could change both of those to required. Now, on the first name, last name part, if you're going to want to copy it over to Command, there's a way to automate this. So like you were saying, like VIP, you send something out, you want to get information from your clients, you want it to go into Command. If they're not a new contact, that's kind of where the limitation with Zapier's automation at this point is it has to be a new contact. If it is an existing contact, you're probably going to get a kickback. It'll say it's a duplicate. However, if you're doing an open house, like that's a good example of you're going to get new contacts, or you're doing a wedding show, or one day we'll do conventions again, and maybe do something like that, maybe a city event or whatever. that they can put their information in. And so when they put this in here, it's going to gather that information. The first name, last name part, though, for the automation, the reason that's important is because that's how command sees the data. It doesn't see it as a single line of a name. And so for the automation to work, you have to separate it. That's all. And like I said, I'll make sure to link the video on how that whole automation works. I'll show you what it looks like, and then I'll link the video because it's something you kind of have to go back and forth to.
And probably how to get there, because for some odd reason, I missed how you got to the Google Forms.
Yeah. So you just go to one or two places. You can go to forms.google.com. Or if you're in your Gmail, you can just click the little 9 little circles up there and you can find forms. And it's the purple little folded piece of paper. So the open house form, and actually, okay, there's one thing that you'll want to make sure that you do on forms, and I meant to say this, make sure y'all had it. You may want to take a screenshot or something of this, because this is one of those things that can be frustrating. It's a very small step that can hang it up. When you share forms, you have to make sure you go into settings and turn off restrict to users in Keller Williams Realty and its trusted organizations, or else anybody you share it to, it will say this form is, you have no access. It'll kick them back as an access issue. So you just uncheck that. It's like I said, it is under settings, and it's just right here. Just says restrict users in Keller Williams Realty. There may be a situation where you maybe only want at KW people to do it, but in y'all's case, that's not going to be as much of an issue or a conversation. Does that make sense? I got really frustrated when I first got on Google Forms, and I'm like, I just want to send a form out to my agents asking them what training they want this year, and I can't get this to send to anybody. And it was like 2 days, and then finally I was like, oh, and it was the tiniest little thing. And anyway, save you the trouble. So I made this little open house form.
Patrick, before we continue, and I'm sorry, I'm stopping you every time.
No, you're just fine.
Okay, so as I already told you, I could not connect my KW account to the Gmail, but when I open my regular Gmail and I go to that 9 dots, it doesn't give me forms. It gives me docs, sheets, finance. There's no forms.
Okay. You know, that's an interesting question to ask. So hang on a second. Let me test something out real quick. It was my understanding it's with any Google account, but it could just be restricted to Google Business. So hang on a second.
And mine is a Google Business.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to go down to more from Google. Let's see, explore all products. So personal for business. Okay, so yes, it is on, you could do it on a personal or a business account. It's just, it's not up in there by default.
Okay.
So when you're up there, there is, you could do, like I said, one or two things. You can type forms.google.com. It'll take you directly to there. Or in those dots, if you scroll down to the bottom, there should be a more from Google, and it'll take you to a control panel where you can say all products.
Okay.
And under for all forms is one of them. And after you go into it the first time, it'll probably show up there as like a favorited app because of the fact that you've used it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's some other things.
So it's got the business Google Workspace, and then it's got the personal.
Yeah. And I don't think it matters on that. I think they're just trying to gather information for asking if you're doing this for personal or for business. Because that's all it did. Or Google for work. Hang on. Forms. Is it different? I can still do all the same forms under personal.
Okay.
So I mean, it's fine. Yeah, I think you can just select that.
Awesome. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. No sorry at all. I want to make sure you guys leave today with something that you can use. Okay, so open house form. I made this open house form. This is actually what's in the video. I'll give you guys a link to here in a minute. Just some basic things. I mean, it's gonna depend on what kind of information your sellers are wanting to gather and what kind of information you're wanting to gather. However, there's gonna be some common things, say, on an open house. And so I just put a picture of the house up top. You can do an add image block anywhere in this. I say a picture of the house. That's actually like the stock photo that's like on every real estate thing ever. You've probably seen something at some point with that house. So I did first name, last name, contact number, email. Put in there, of course, are you currently working with another agent? Because you want to verify that. And I made a required field. That's why it has a little asterisk. And then I just put some questions in there. Exterior impressions, curb appeal, was it gorgeous? I loved it. Needs work. Pitiful condition. It's a jungle out there. Feature I like the most. Feature I like the least. So whatever questions you like to ask at an open house. I made sure that the restrict users is off, so it's not restricting any users. And then when you want to grab the link, you can hit send. And then you can, I always grab it as the actual link. However, there are some other options there, like embedded HTML. So if you have a web page that you want to embed this form into, you can even do that. So this form right here, shorten link. And I'm gonna go to the link and I'm gonna give it somebody crazy. We're going to name it something absolutely crazy so that we can find it later. So I'll go with James. I don't know. We'll call it James Hatworth. That's not too crazy, actually. I thought I was going to come up with something really funny. I've already used James Brond. It'll give me a duplicate if I do that. So, and we'll just put a phone number in that we probably haven't before, email address. Say james@hat.com. Are you currently working with another agent? No. Gorgeous house. I like the kitchen. And feature I like the least, weird closet. Okay. This has been recorded. If I actually go back to the form, I had connected this to a sheet. And you can see that James Hatworth is in there. We're going to we'll give it just a second and we will see. I'll actually show you guys one other thing because since I have it on the free version, it takes like 10 minutes for that to get processed. But so I have Zapier. Zapier is automation for everything. Like it doesn't do everything within another app, but it connects to just about anything you can think of. And so what essentially I've done is I've tethered Google Forms to command using Zapier. And Zapier takes the data from Forms and it moves it over to command in a way that command can read it and save some of that data. It won't save all the data, but first name, last name, phone number, email address, the day that it came in, things like that. They take a lot of time to do as data entry, and you don't really need in your database that, hey, they thought the house was gorgeous necessarily. You just know, hey, this person was in an open house. Now I need to go tag them and follow up with them. So this one you can log in using your Gmail. So like I was talking about earlier with the authentication. And it comes up with a little easy panel on the front of this. Essentially what you do, and like I said, I'll give you guys the video link for that, is I would say that I want to connect Forms, Google Forms, and I want to connect, I think, what do they call it now? It's in here as Keller Williams command. I keep wanting to type KW command because we always say KW, but they see it as Keller Williams command. And when someone has a new response, I want it to create a contact. And so that's essentially the steps that it's going to do. I have the automation here. They're called zaps. And I have an active zap and I don't see any errors on it. So it should have actually gone through by this point. We'll just log into my command real quick. And let's see, we called him Hatworth. And he should be a contact. Okay, it still has not updated yet. Okay. which is this, it's not unusual. If you have the paid version of Zapier, which allows all kinds of like extra steps and everything, it goes instantly. But on the free one, I think it's like at a refresh period. But we haven't gotten any errors, which means that it probably has not kicked back. These are the steps that I go through in the video to show you guys how to make sure that the trigger's set up, where to select your account, how to set up the triggers. These are the things that if it doesn't work, you have to go through a couple different times. And you guys are welcome to reach out to me, and we can look at this later if for some reason you get hung up on that. Let's see. Okay, no, it still hasn't come in yet. Okay. So imagine for a moment, and this was kind of my use case idea about doing this open house is right now we're still contactless. We're still dealing with COVID-19. We're still doing everything we can to make sure that we limit contact. Somebody comes into an open house, they've got a mask on. You want to get their information. You may not be able to hear them very well. You don't really want them holding pens. You don't want them, you want it to be as contactless as possible. And so they come in, you've got a printout, say on a table of a QR code. They can scan that QR code, and then it's going to take them to this form to fill out, and you're going to gather that information. So to get the QR code, and this is one of the cool things that has happened recently in, hang on a second. I have to go back to this one because this does not work in incognito. Is that Google or Chrome will create QR codes for you for any page. So you could do this on a landing page on your Keller Williams website. If you have another IDX website, you could find a page on it and share the QR code. You could put it on signs if you wanted to, but we're going to copy the link, and I'm going to go to that form again in a non-incognito window. It's going to pull it up, and then I'm just going to right click, and I'm going to say create QR code for this page, and I'm going to download it. And that's done. If somebody pulls out a mobile device,
you will have to repeat that. I'm sorry, I just lost you. So how did you do like the right click?
Yep. So this QR code that's up on the screen, if I were to scan it, it's going to take you to this page right here. So anytime, if you're on any page at all, anywhere on the internet now, this is what's kind of neat about this. You can generate a QR code for that page from Chrome by just right clicking. And when you right click,
I found it, Patrick. I found it. I'm happy.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So you could put it on a sign. You could put it on, like I said, in the open house. That's just kind of my idea. Is you've got a table out there that has this. You could get a tombstone stand or something like that sits at an angle. Make it real easy for people to scan that and take them directly to this. Let's see if it has copied over my. Let me try to change.
So no need to pay for QR codes anymore.
I would say there's no reason to. Okay, so let's check my Zap and see if I'm just waiting on it or if it broke. The one thing about Zapier is they can make changes, Command can make changes, and things can get unsynced. You may have to go back and fix it. That's why we connect it to. We also do the what's it called right here? We do the spreadsheet. So worst case, you've got all the information in a spreadsheet, and you have to put it into Command. It's not the end of the world, not the best situation, but I'm not seeing it coming in yet. So let's see, filters on, all contacts, leads only. Let's see, did it come in as a lead? No, it did not. Okay, we're going to clear all. Okay, so we'll check and see if for some reason the Zap failed. So we have one from February 25th, tasks views issues 0. So I'm actually gonna Zap runs. It says that it was successful. First name James. So we should actually be seeing that in my database. It could, I may just need to log out of command and log back in because it says that it is in there. Or I may be in the wrong command account. I've got a couple demo accounts, so hang on a second. Let's see. Okay, that is definitely something to look at. Okay. That's something I'm going to have to troubleshoot. It says that it came through. It may be that Keller Cloud is lagging. However, this contact will get in there. And like I said, worst case, you're looking at it goes into a Google Sheet, which you can refer to later. And then you've got the 10, 15 people. It's just a way to help streamline that just a little bit.
Patrick, and the landing pages, if you do QR code for a landing page, that will take directly the leads into command.
That is correct. The only reason I'm showing this way to do it is because you can add some more details. Say you have specific questions you want to ask. That isn't available right now. So yeah. And hang on a second. Let me link to you guys the make sure y'all get the link on how I did that. And like I said, I think Keller Cloud's still propagating it. It had not added it in there yet. But if it is something that you want to do, I will help you with it. If you get stuck, and worst case, it's going to go into your database, into the spreadsheet. So you're going to gather the data. The data is not lost. Okay, that's the Zapier automation. Cool. Any other questions on Google Forms? Then I'll show you guys a few more things before we run out of time.
Patrick?
Yeah.
Can you, not sure about the, when you have people that are signed up or not signed up to a Zoom call, can you send afterwards the recording to them, or how does it work?
I would need, what I can do is after we're done with this, I can send you a link of the recording, and anybody else that would like, if they come in on the call without a registration, I don't have any email addresses. So gotcha. That's all it is. But yeah, I'll be happy to send it to you, and then you can send it out to anybody who wants it.
Sure.
Okay, so we covered Google Forms, we covered QR codes. I'll show you guys, for those who don't know, Google Voice real quick. I actually haven't set it up for this G Suite account, so it works out pretty good to be able to show what that looks like. If I go to voice.google.com for the first time, let's just say I'm going to sign in. I'm already signed in, so your Google Voice isn't ready. So please oh, hey. Okay, let's say I'm going to put for personal use. No. Let's say for business. Well, you know what, guys? I'm pretty sure Google Voice, I used it with my other KWG Suite account, so I apologize. It may not be, it is included in all Gmail accounts, but it may not be included in your Keller Williams account. So I may need to update that in my materials. Because it's telling me to contact the administrator. Then I'll just show you guys what it is. I'll swap to one of my other Google accounts, and we'll take a look at that. Sign in, swap to. Okay, this is the screen I should have gotten. So you can just do it from a non-KW account. And then I could say, Birmingham, Alabama, because that's kind of where I'm at, sort of. Nope, we don't have any numbers available. They have Pelham. Okay. And this becomes a challenge. Sometimes you cannot find a number that is directly on top of you. Columbiana is the closest to where I'm at. Not really super close. 610 number is a bit odd, but let's just do it anyway. We've selected it, start using Google Voice. You need to verify. It's going to make you use a regular phone number. And then it's going to give me a two-step authentication. It's going to come through. Okay. Phone number's been added. It's all mine. So long story short, you can text, you can email, or not email, you can text, you can make phone calls. If you have the app downloaded on your phone, you can make them like regular phone calls within the app. You can text from within here. I could say I want to send a message and I'll do it to myself just as a test. You type in the phone number, you go down to the bottom, you could just say hello. And now I should get a text message. Yeah, got a text message from that 610 number and it's from me. So it's pretty easy to set up. The carrier calling, like I said, when people call the number, it is going to, it's going to prompt, it's going to call your phone, but it's going to prompt a little thing where they have to actually click through, or they have to say who they are to be able to connect to you. So that's pretty much it for Google Voice. It's not incredibly complicated. And then of course, Drive. Let me show you guys something that I do. It's something to just kind of understand about how Google Drive works. So everything in Google Drive is just yours, unless it's not, unless it's shared to something else. The cool thing about Google Drive is everything, you can control permissions on all kinds of things. I have a folder here called KWRTT-SE, and then I have a folder inside of it that is for Market Center Tech trainers. All the stuff I make that they can use to teach in their market centers goes into this folder, and they all have access to it. So anything below this folder, as they would call it, I can assign to them. You can just right click and I can say share. And then I can pick all the different users that are, I can revoke access, I can add access. If they say, hey, I want to be added to this folder, it's pretty easy. You can also set up a link if you want to a particular file or a particular folder. However, I have this restricted for, because that just for my group of people here. However, say you do have, so going back to the photographer thing, that's something y'all definitely share files all the time. I don't know if y'all's MLS allows it in Birmingham. You can add special permissions to a photographer and they can upload to MLS directly. Some MLSs don't allow it. Paragon does, or Paragon MLS, like the system will allow it. But let's say that you could create a Google Drive folder and say, hey, just drop my photos in there when you're done. And you could make it a public link. And once it's done, you could drag them out into a private folder. So those sorts of things can help make it a little bit easier. Or like I said, you could do the same thing for your client. You could just create a new folder and say, 123 Main Street. And then you could share that folder with just your client. And so they would always have access to those pictures in, here on and forever. And you're not eating up space on, say, Dropbox for photos for a client you worked with 5 years ago that they still wanted pictures of their house. So good place to back that sort of stuff up. You could even, here's an idea. If I know some agents like to say at the following calendar year, you roll over into next year, you send an extra copy of the settlement statement back to your client. You could always bundle up all the paperwork that was involved in the transaction and put a second copy up in Drive for them that they have a link to that is only shared to them. So I'm not telling you if there's any security issues you're worried about, don't, but that is something you could do with it. And as long as you're sharing access with only that one person and it's from the email address that say they DocuSigned or dot looped from or whatever you did for e-signature, it should be safe. That's pretty much it. I know we talked a lot about forms, but I feel like the forms part is, I feel like you can do a lot with the forms. How we feeling? Did y'all get any value out of today?
Definitely. And I appreciate the time that you've taken to help all 5 of us, which is, I hope that it would have been a bigger crowd, but I think that people are missing out and not listening to anything that can actually assist them in their business.
Well, I like small groups too, and I definitely want to help you guys out. We've got a great community of people here at Keller Williams, and we've got great technology and knowledge, and I always want to pull that together and help you guys out. I'd hate for you to have a frustrating day over something that I could help answer for you in 2 minutes. And I know how that is. Sometimes you just don't want to hear that one thing that day, or you cannot figure out that one thing. Like, I want to be able to be a resource for you guys on that. I put a Google Doc link in there. It's also up on the screen too, but I'm keeping track of the different classes people like and for why. And so if you just fill out a quick little evaluation, that would be fantastic.
We'll definitely do. And I think it was Robin that said that she missed the beginning. If it's recorded, then yes, it is recorded. And Patrick is going to send it to me. And if you like to get the recording, I would gladly send it to you. I put my email in the chat box.
Awesome. All right.
Great. Well, thank you very, very much, Patrick. I don't know if anybody has any questions, you're welcome, obviously, to ask. And if not, we can wrap it up.
Yeah, any more questions? And then, oh, and another thing, I'll make sure you guys, if y'all want to save this as well. Hang on a second. I meant to go to the next slide. Of course, thanks for coming. But here's also some resources for if you guys have technology questions within Keller Williams. KW Connect has some great videos and resources on there. I've got a YouTube channel, like where I shared that other video from. I'm always adding extra videos and new stuff for you guys. Your Market Center Tech Trainer is always going to be a resource. And under KW Marketplace Professional Services, you can hire KWRI people to do like one-on-one command coaching and stuff like that if it makes sense for you. Support, of course, there's answers.kw.com and support@kw.com, and you can call them in Austin for things like your Google Suite account that will not work. They will be able to help you out with that. So
that'll be a good thing.
All right.
Everybody that sent their email in the chat to send them the recording. That's it. Thank you very, very much, Patrick, for your time. And
absolutely. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Patrick.
All right. You're welcome. Thank you for coming. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.